Frustrating because I think for more than 1 hour we dominate the game. We score one, we could have scored another one, more than one, but then we conceded the goal and we lost a little bit of balance. And yeah, it's a difficult one, but we're gonna try to win the next one.
Obviously, Aston Villa are on fire, 12 wins in a row in all competitions. And to be fair, you guys played really well in the first half. And then if you have to take positives, I mean, as you said, you were like up for the game for the whole first half and then in the beginning of the second half. But then that terrible mistake turned the game over, didn't it?
Yeah, I think by the time they scored the first goal, we should be 2-0, 3-0 because we create many chances. But again, unfortunately, we conceded the goal, and from there the game changed a little bit.
So what's the aim for the rest of the season? Top 4?
The aim is to improve, as I said many times, game by game, and then we see it.
And just beef that squad up. I think they possibly could have a chance. I just feel that right now, Arsenal and Man City are just a bit ahead of them. And that's not because I don't want any hate from Aston Villa fans. I'm just saying that's how I see it. I think they've done amazingly well. And to the players, the system and everything that the manager does. And one thing for sure with him, he knows how to win. He knows how to win competitions, Unai Emery. He's a master tactician and a brilliant manager.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, then, let's have a look at what changed for Aston Villa then when Unai Emery made that triple substitution, because not long after that, they had a really good chance.
Well, we said that the video, we said that at the start, you just need something to start. You know, a catalyst, whether it's a chance, a half chance, a corner, and they get the substitutions, and then this is the chance that gives them the impetus to go on and have a bit of belief and confidence in this game.
Yeah, but you mentioned it, Steve, you know, just after the game finished, and sometimes you need just a passage of play, don't you? And they obviously Chelsea in a good position, and they lose it. And this is probably the first time in the match where a little bit of space opened up. Every time they got it, they'd lost it. All of a sudden, you've got players like Jadon Sancho, Morgan Rogers on this side, and then they work it really well, Steve.
And they pass it with like purpose, with force, precision, and detail. And that is what you need to get up the pitch. And then when you do that, and you've got willing runners to get in behind, like Kamara does as well. You know, what a goal that would have been at a time where they was probably really on their knees. So that then just sparked that little bit of life into them and just go through in this game now.
It was amazing, really, I think, from the manager's point of view, because what happens when you make great substitutions, it looks like, wow, that's incredible what he's done. And if you didn't know better, you think, I'll tell you what we're going to do, lads. First half, we're going to be terrible. We're going to be absolutely useless. And then second half, we're going to come out and make a couple of substitutions. We're going to win this game. But obviously that hasn't happened because he's a much better manager than that. But they were so off it in the first half. The system didn't really work. I didn't feel that Morgan Rogers playing as a sort of a 4-4-2 alongside Marlin didn't work for me. And then he changed it and he made some important substitutions, and then you start to get players, what I would call, starting to play in their best position. Now, straight away, that automatically looks like a better system for me. You've got Jadon Sancho out on the right. You've got Tielemans just behind Ollie Watkins. I think it suits Tielemans. He found it really difficult playing here in the first half because he was having to get interactive with Cole Palmer, kept having the run that way. So you've got Onana and Kamara, and then you've got Morgan Rogers in a position. Steve mentioned this right at the top of the show, and he's exactly right. Off that left-hand side where he can just drift into these areas here, into these pockets. Obviously, what happens is Badiashile gives away the ball really cheaply, but then once that happens, it just shows what Aston Villa do really, really well. Straight away, you've got a nice shape there. Now, Onana's got that one. He knows that pass is going to get played into me. Now, the key is this and this. You've got two players, once that ball changes hands, they need to narrow up really quickly. Does Chalobah get across quickly enough? No. Reece James is thinking from a forward perspective, if that ball gets played out to me, I can then get up the line, we can get Neto in the game, we've got a chance of scoring. But because, as Steve mentioned before, they've got their tails up. Now the ball gets played, he wins it. Right, now, can we get this into our best player? Absolutely. I will just take that back because I love what he does there. It's so important. Just watch how he checks his shoulder. He knows now. Just checks to the right, have I got time? Yes, absolutely. Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins does really well because he's got his body shape there. He's got his back to him really at the moment. But then what he does is open his body shape up now that he will want that ball, if possible, just played into this space. And watch how quickly Ollie Watkins changes his foot pattern. Chalobah doesn't narrow up. Well, he gets to him, but obviously Ollie Watkins does so well. Now that pace of pass has to be fast. He gets it into him on the half turn. Yes, element of luck, but that was how the game changed, and that little bit of play was so key, Steve, wasn't it?
It's just how Villa really set up. They go with that sort of box midfield where they just sort of seem more and more compact, and then the presence of just Onana, you know, there.
Yeah.
And then this is the area. You know, we spoke about this area at the top of the show, like you said. And when he gets in this position, Rodgers, you know he can cause damage. And like you said there, Ollie Watkins, as soon as Rodgers secures the pass, secures the ball, Rodgers knows that he can then get on his bike. And yeah, look, like the first touch did get away from him, but the left arm to get out, because Trev's a real strong boy as well. And look, that's the luck that he needs sometimes. But like I say, he's not been hitting the standards and the form that he's set in previous seasons, but he carries on doing the exact same run. Doesn't go from what's given him success in previous games.
And the pass, I think, from Morgan Rodgers looks a relatively simple one, but it's not. It has to be perfect. It has to be fast. It has to be at the right pace. And then it gives Ollie Watkins the chance to get it under his spell. You mentioned it was a poor first. I didn't think it was, really. It was a hard one because Chalobah's coming. But that left arm is everything, isn't it? He just gives him that moment, and all of a sudden you're back in the game. And there was only really going to be one winner from their team, because Chelsea had completely gone, and Aston Villa, because of that confidence, were in the ascendancy. Set up from the corner, what do you think, Steve?
Well, we was looking at it, wasn't we? You know, that Chelsea are in a sort of a zonal. Yeah, a few players on the zone, which we see a lot now from different players.
Let's highlight. We've got, so is it Chalobah's at the front post? I think he's probably too far forward there. I think he could do with being a few yards back. You've got Badiashile, and then you've got Delap. And what changed? The substitutions that made, I think, Villa a much bigger side, because you can see Onana, and you can see then obviously the players in and around him, and Ollie Watkins, is that they make the team just a lot bigger from those situations.
Yeah, I just feel as though there's no one really highlighted on Ollie Watkins. Is it Enzo on Onana there? Is it Caicedo on Konsa? But you look at Ollie Watkins, and then we'll find that Gusto gets back in time to mark him, but there's no one really set on someone who's just come on, scored a goal, made an impact in the game as well. You're thinking you need to get close to him.
I think that tells you everything. I think Gusto's thinking, is that one going to get played back to him? Because Aston Villa don't mind that one, and it comes in a first-time pass. But it doesn't. And then once he gets back in, I don't think he shows any appetite to head it. I think he almost ducks down because he's worried about what's behind him. And then you can see it. Look, he's looking, OK, now I've got to become like a blocker, defender. Look, I don't really want any of this. This isn't for me. It's too easy. He gets pushed out the way, doesn't do enough. Just keep your eye on him there, number 27. Not enough. If you're blocking, because you talk now about blockers and you talk about markers, he's doing neither.
Yeah.
And that's no good. You're like in the game, you're 1-1. I'll just take that back. Look at 1 second, hold on. Just take that back. I just think this sums it up a little bit, really. Number 27 there. Just keep your eye on him as he jumps. Is that a man that's trying to attack the ball? Watch. Is he trying to attack that? Not really. He's got his head down. He's worried about someone's going to hit him on the back of the head. Unfortunately, you need to hang in there this time. And that really was a massive moment. And I've not done enough justice to Ollie's header, because it was a brilliant goal, but he summed it up nicely. And then you can just see that confidence, and everyone's running away. The fans are involved, they're engaged, they love their team right now. They're in the ascendancy, Steve.
They don't know when they beat this Villa team, they really don't. And with the manager at the helm as well, it's just, you know, what have they've picked up more points from losing positions and dropped the least points from winning positions. So that tells you straight away in games, and Ollie said it there, it's not the most prettiest of times, because they sit back and they do suck up, you know, a lot of possession. But when they get their noses in front, they know how to keep in front. And then when they're behind, they know how to get to chase and get a goal, because that's what they do. They're just relentless. They'll keep on going to the end. And when it gets to 85 minutes, 87 minutes, they'll go and take the ball to the corner flag. You know, they'll sort of game management, they'll waste time just to get the win over the line. And like I say, you know, another few results, these are well in the mix.
Yeah. And I think as management as well, I think it helps. Like, because he changed it, but realising I've got it maybe wrong in the first half. I don't know what he's going to say and whether he'll get asked the question, but I felt first half it didn't work. It wasn't working. So then you have to change it. You look at the system. Ollie said they went man for man. Yes, they did. But it wasn't even so much that. It's just they started to play a little bit. Yeah. And you've got players in their right positions. That's football. If you play too many players in the wrong position, you're not going to get success. Last half an hour of the game, people started to play. Morgan Rodgers, the most important player, exciting player, the one that makes you tick, come into that position, Peen, and all of a sudden everything starts to click.
There will be questions being asked of the Chelsea performance in that second half, but they had a really good first half performance, and Joao Pedro able to get the opening goal. Let's have a look at it, because there was it was a brilliant corner actually taken from Reece James, who said it was his goal. I wonder when he watches it back what he will be thinking. But Joao Pedro at the end got the touch. Yeah,
and I think we did this at half time, Steve, didn't we? And obviously Martinez, the goalkeeper there, is obviously worth keeping an eye on, because he's got his fellow countryman there just behind him, and he's causing a real problem. Fernandes, he doesn't know whether to just leave him alone. He ends up having a fight with him. The goal scorer is just there, Joao Pedro. Good delivery that comes in, Steve, and they just get themselves in a bit of a mess.
They highlight their keeper. Look, you see Chalobah first of all, he comes in, then Enzo obviously has a little go, then Pedro, so he's never set Martinez at all. And, you know, Reece James has done this corner so many times where they just float the ball in. They want to cause carnage. Look how many bodies there are in and around that 6-yard box. Look how many players there are around Martinez there. He can never get set. He can never predict where it's going to go, because so many bodies, it could ricochet. And look, it comes off the shin of or the outside leg of Joao Pedro. But look, he's still fighting. The balls as it's coming down here. Look, he hasn't even got his arms up. He's not set. He doesn't know where he is. He's flustered by what's going on around him. Like you say, he's just fighting everyone at the moment. And then before you know it, we get the little bit where it comes off and
just claims the goal off his back of his calf, just there. Yeah. The slightest deflection, he'll take that. He needed a goal. And then, as we both said, I think, Steve, they were so much better first half, Chelsea. They were so comfortable. You couldn't really see Aston Villa getting back into this game, but the only reason why you did is because you know how much confidence they've got, and they are an elite team at coming back from these positions.
How will Chelsea be feeling after this performance, though? Because we spoke before about sort of inconsistency, I suppose, in results. People are expecting more from this Chelsea team. When you see them performing like they did in the first half, to then how they performed in the second half, how disappointed will they be?
Yeah, I think it doesn't help in terms of, like, there's been lots of games and I've seen that, the inconsistency of the first half against Newcastle. If you flip it, you think, well, they were so poor first half, second half they were excellent. And they come into a game now and it just feels like they were so in control. And then second half, those 3 substitutions, yes, masterclass from the manager of Aston Villa, but from Chelsea's point of view, you can't all of a sudden just capitulate like you did. I don't remember them creating another real chance, a real opportunity. Esteval had a couple of little moments, but not enough. And that isn't ever really going to get you in a position where you're going to be winning, you know, or competing for titles. And of late, things have just gone the other way, and it's not. There's no real confidence or belief in the team.
Yeah, you feel as though there's a real lack of know-how in games. Like earlier in the season, where they performed so well against Barcelona in the Champions League and Arsenal, then they go to Leeds and try and play the same way. And, you know, you're away at Leeds, you can't do that. You know, and it's the same again today. They just need that real clinical edge and a real cutting way of winning games. And, you know, look, we know the model with Chelsea. It's going to be youth and giving them experience. I think it's been 90 games since they played someone that was over the age of 30, which was Thiago Silva. They need someone with an experience in that team.
That your team seems to have. How, again today, have you found a way to win from such a difficult situation?
Good evening, yes, of course, but we know it, and before the match we were speaking about how we could keep our mentality and our consistency. Was defending when they needed to dominate like usually they are doing the match, and playing at home, of course. Our plan was try to dominate a little bit our momentum in the first half better than we did, but they were pushing us, they were pressing very good, and they were as well dominating with the ball more than us. But we were resilient, we were defending, we were feeling comfortable defending, and this is one thing. Even struggling, we must feel it, and we did it. And of course, we were a little bit upset with the result, with how we were performing the first half, but it's something normal playing against Chelsea here at home, and we analyze the matches they play here as well, and the quality they have. But 90 minutes is 90 minutes, and our momentum as well. All the matches we are getting our momentum, and through it we are as well showing our capacity to play well. And the second half, progressively we're getting better, and of course we came back the result because the players they show their capacity and their resilience and their mentality to keep the mentality in their game plan to follow it strongly.